Greetings and bienvenue, midnight crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
General spookiness, anyone? Inawoods, aliens, ghosts, anything.
This one happened to me a few weeks back. Be me, working as a paper courier. Because it sounds better than paperboy. Usually work from midnight to 4 a.m. Deliver to a mostly rural area, lots of farmhouses and open fields surrounded by dense forest. Generally very foggy, cold, and cloudy around here at night, Pacific Northwest. At one point I have to get out of my car to take a newspaper up to some old lady's front doorstep because she can't walk all the way up to her driveway. It's a long-ass driveway, takes me 30 seconds to run up to the doorstep. Turn around to run back to my truck, which is parked and running in the street. There's a guy standing between me and my vehicle. Don't immediately freak out because sometimes people come out at night to complain about me playing music too loud or flashing in their bedroom window at night on accident. Something I can help you with, sir? He doesn't speak for a second. Look at him a bit closer. See that he's wearing a pretty interesting get-up. Mechanic's jumpsuit and a skull balaclava. Now I'm getting pretty freaked out. He starts to speak in this weird heavy breathing falsetto.
Have you seen my puppy?
Not sure what to say. I haven't seen any puppies tonight, but I ask him to describe it because what the fuck else am I going to say? He begins to slowly describe it, same breathy falsetto.
Oh, he's got brown hair, he's pretty skinny, about 6 feet tall, wearing a thick black coat.
Oh Jesus fuck, he's describing me. He finishes describing his puppy, and then just stares at me silently. I stare back, equally silently. Think about running. Only place to go is into the woods, and I'm pretty sure that's what he wants. Only person to call for help is the old lady who can't even walk down her driveway. This stare down continues for a lifetime, until some headlights come around the corner. Wave my arms and scream for help. Sweet merciful red and blues, it's the cops. Lost puppy guy books it into the woods. One of the cops chased him. The guy was super out of shape and the cop had no problem taking him down and restraining him. Guy claims he just wanted to play a prank. He ends up getting charged for criminal mischief, or some shit. I went out and bought a taser, which I now carry on me at all times while doing my route.
So this happened to me about a month ago. I'm very skeptical by nature, so it makes it all the more weird. Might be too spooky for some, but my reaction was way more WTF. So I'm walking back home from the light rail stop, which is probably about a mile or so from my house. It was pretty late. I take night classes at the university downtown, probably 11 p.m. or so. The street I live on sort of elbows, and it crosses the street that I usually walk when I'm going to or from the light rail stop. So I'm about 20 or so yards away from the elbow, and I see this ye old-timey horse-drawn carriage turning the corner and heading off down my street in the direction away from my house. Now I live in a pretty low-rent part of town. It's not the ghetto or anything, but my neighborhood ain't exactly rich. So seeing that kind of thing was pretty strange, to say the least. I picked up the pace a bit and sort of power walked to the corner so I could get a better look. When I rounded the corner, there was nothing there. This confused the fuck out of me because after that elbow in the road, my street completely straightens out and there's not another cross street for at least 100 yards, and I'm absolutely certain it couldn't have disappeared out of sight in the time it took me to round the corner. Now, the too spooky thing is, and what I didn't even notice at the time, was that I'm pretty sure the carriage and horse hadn't made a sound.
B cop. Guy calls us. Hasn't seen his neighbor for days. It was unusual for him not to answer the door or the calls since they were good friends. He only saw the lights going on and off throughout the days and nights. We knocked on his door, looked through the windows. Nobody to be seen. But lights were on, 7 p.m. Broke his lock, searched his house. No one there. Officer yells my name. You have to see this. Traces of blood leading from his back door to an old shack in the garden. Mind you, the back door could only be locked from the inside, and it was locked. The house owner sits dead in his chair, his legs cut open. Doc says he sat there since about 3 days, cause of death exsanguination. Not very spooky, but we neither could explain the lights nor the locked door. Must have been someone else. Same guy from yesterday. Got some more stories. Mind you, most of them are not really spooky, but interesting nonetheless. Be young cop. October. On the search for a missing person. White woman, 15, didn't come home from school. Rural area. Search along a creek. There's a little bridge 20 meters in front of us. Hear someone crying. Must be her. Find her sitting under the bridge. Sitting in cold water without a jacket. Won't talk, won't stop crying. Ignores us completely. Get her out, call an ambulance. Other officer takes care of this case. Officer tells me she's in a mental asylum now. Never found her jacket and stuff. Never find out what really happened. I really hate those cases we can't break.
At the time I was maybe 15. Hanging with friends. I didn't hang much. We decided to go to Reeder Road. Supposedly a haunted road that leads into thick woods near my town. We go during the day, by bike. When we get there it's maybe about 4 p.m. and the only other people we saw there was some old man walking down the path. We have the bright idea to go off the road down one of the unmarked paths overgrown with shrubs. We walk deeper into the woods when we reach a ditch that sort of curves. While walking along it I noticed something across the ditch. I can't really explain it, it looked like a human but they were like clearish white, it's hard to explain. When I look at it, it looks like it does a small sprint into a tree. The tree shakes a little bit like something made contact with it. Me and my friend look at each other wondering what the fuck it was. We run back to the main Reeder Road, got on our bikes, and go home.
I got one. My friends and I used to go around and explore in the woods. Occasionally we would sit and do EVP electronic voice phenomena sessions, and try to do some minor ghost hunting stuff. Here is one of the stories. Be hanging out with friends. Be in Ohio. One friend says he knows a place in the wood by his house. Go there, called the Witch's House. Just a decrepit ruins of a house, mainly the basement. Also a charred car randomly parked next to the house. Sit on some bricks, try talking to the witch that used to live there. Sun has already set. Hear footsteps rustling around the house, like someone running, leaves moving around a lot. Friends start to wander over to the charred car. I leave the EVP recorder on the brick. I join them. We find this odometer that has been dislodged from the car. The numbers are set to 666,600. I tell friend not to take it, he doesn't listen. Thinks it's funny and is gonna change the numbers when he gets back. We get back to the recorder, ask some more questions in the open air. It starts to get really dark, start to leave. Once we get back, we all try to change the numbers on the odometer. It is stuck. Friend rushes down to his basement and puts the odometer there. Don't ask me why. I look over the sounds, and hear this light whispering at the beginning when we get there. It gets louder and louder the more time we are there. Once we get to the point in the recording where we leave to look at the car, I hear clapping, and this weird whispering that is super loud. The whispering follows the sound of the walking in the leaves. Like it belongs to whatever is running around the bricks. That is pretty much all we found on the recording. But my friend said that ever since he took that odometer, his house has been weird. Footsteps, knocking, shadows everywhere. And I tried to go and find the odometer a few months ago, and it was gone. I have more stories if you want to hear them.
Be 3 weeks ago, my birthday. I live in Colorado. Just stating this to get an idea. Friends pick me up and we all enjoy a great night. Bar, hookah, and going up to Colorado University since my friend goes there and we were just fucking around. Well, it was about midnight and he says there is this dorm room where a girl committed self-end and it's supposed to be haunted. Lol, whatever, it ain't spooky. We wait outside the main doors waiting for someone to open it. The building is shaped like a U and we are right in the middle of it. Almost all lights are off, but windows are open, and the middle section is the cafeteria with many lights on the inside. Brains fucking with me, constantly seeing dark figures. 30 minutes pass, and somebody opens the door. Shit just got real. Nope. Walk upstairs till we get to this lonely ass door. My heart's fucking spaghettiing all over itself. Open it up and this is the longest hallway I've ever seen, and in the middle it goes down a shorter hallway. Get to a shorter hallway and that is when it got fucked up. This door looked like the door that was protecting hell. It had 3 handles and 6 different locks on it. Just looking at this door makes me sick. Friend goes, just wait, and turns off the lights. Fuck. Decide to man up and touch the door. Arm instantly numbs and in the silence I feel like I can hear voices. After about 30 minutes of that we left. Leave and I feel that I'm being watched. I know it's a college but not that kind of watch. I just felt weird. Friends start discussing science, since that's what one is majoring in. I'm ahead of them and my mind is breaking. I start crying and getting thoughts of self-end. Feel like I've disappointed my parents and that I'm just so sorry. Note that for being 20 my life is above par. I've broken eyesight of that building but I just have this pulling sensation making me want to go back. As we get a mile or so away, it fades and I start to collect myself. Have no idea what the fuck happened and think I'm going crazy. It's around 2:30, almost witching hour, and we leave. When we were driving the moon was full and in a busy town. There were no cars. No street lights or anything. I brought it up and we had a debate over it, but this is what I came up with. I just broke up with my girlfriend, after dating for 2 years. And I feel like that feeling I had of wanting to go back, actually needing to go back, was some sort of way telling me that the further you get away, the better you will be. I have the most respect for the paranormal side.
Pre-law enforcement days. Work as cable installer. Spooky old 3-story house. Only resident is a little old lady in a wheelchair. Elevator installed because of wheelchair. She's gone all day, with doctor's appointments. Elevator keeps dinging and going back and forth between floors at random intervals. Tool bag keeps disappearing every time I turn my back, reappearing in random rooms. Go down to the basement. Have to drill through a 1-foot thick brick wall to run the cable from one side to the other. Partner goes to the other side of the wall. Drill hole. Insert 3 feet long neon plastic rod so he can see hole. He doesn't see it. Go around to his side and fail to see the rod. Come back. Drill a different hole. Figuring maybe one side of the basement is at a different elevation or whatever bullshit we could rationalize it with. Insert rod. He still doesn't see it. I wiggle rod back and forth, nothing. Go to his side again. Drill hole from his side. Insert a rod, and go back to my side. No fucking rod poking out of the wall. Fuck it. I'll use the biggest drill bit I've got. Reach for the tool bag. It's absconded to the living room again. Retrieve it. Get a 4 feet drill bit and run it up to the hilt into that wall. Pull drill out. It melted off 6 inches from the drill. What in the ever-living fuck is going on here? Old lady comes back. Explain difficulties to old lady. She grabs an old phone book off the kitchen counter, throws it at a random wall, and shouts for someone to
leave these nice men alone and let them work. You shouldn't have any more trouble, dearie.
go down to the basement and drill hole again. Partner sees the rod instantly and we push the cable through, finish install, and leave. Both of us refuse to ever do a maintenance call to that house. Other than a few Inwood stories, and the bizarre noise only my wife and dog could hear, that's the only spooky story I got.
This happened in late fall. It's not much, but it's something. Live in small, very, very small, town surrounded by woods. A couple hundred years ago the town moved a few miles from where it was, so there's all these old ruins of houses and a chapel and shit in the woods, some falling apart with trees growing through, others fairly intact. Hobo friend who lives in the woods is taking me on a tour. Drags me through the wilderness and I fall in a creek, but totally worth it because he takes me to this old cemetery, all crumbling and moss-coated tombstones. There's an apple tree growing in the middle of the place. Friend chucks one to me, but I'm uncoordinated and it hits me in the face. Hear a woman laughing like, right in my fucking ear. Freak out a little. Tell myself it was the wind, but man, that shit was not the wind. The apple was pretty good, although it didn't give me psychic powers like I hoped.
2 stories from my uncle, who was the chief of police when he was still alive. Number 1. Had to patrol town cemetery at night to keep all the edgy teenagers out. Going through cemetery, had to pee. Got to the little tool shed on the edge of the grounds. Hopped out, left car running and door open. Started pissing by the edge of the shed. Suddenly his car died and the door slammed shut. Nope, the fuck out of there, but it always bothered him. Newer model police car shouldn't die on its own. No wind that night and car was on flat ground. What the hell slammed the door? Number 2. Another officer, his good friend. Same cemetery. Pulled up to the front gate, about to drive inside. I noticed an old man walking towards his car like he needed something. Rolled the window down just as the man got to him. The old man disappeared right in front of the officer. Shat bricks and GTFO back to the station. They also used to have an old cell block at their previous location. Every night, about 1 a.m. you could hear an old keyring jangling from the back door, up through the row of cells, to the front offices. My uncle said anyone locked up back there made damn sure not to be put back there ever again.
Junior year of high school, 17-ish I think. Really into this girl for about half the year and now finally hanging out with her since I got my license and am less of a piece of shit. Texts me to come over to her neighborhood and accompany her to explore some shit she found. It's like 7:30 p.m. but it's not even dark since it's getting close to summer. Get to her house and tells me she found this abandoned shed cabin thing all the way in the back of her neighborhood past the fence and down a hill while jogging with her sister in the morning. We walk to where she said it was. It's getting darker and darker. Around 8:20 when we finally get to the hill, sun's already down. See another couple a little bit down the hill and they are kids from our school saying they saw the cabin too and want to go inside. I'm creeped out but I'm not gonna pussy out in front of this girl. She's clinging on to me the whole time down the hill past a little creek and into the yard of the cabin. The yard is covered in old junk and broken shit, shed off to the right side of the cabin. Get to the cabin, surrounded by high grass and graffiti everywhere on walls, doors and windows are all gone. Go inside first with the light from the phone screen on. Girl is about to rip my arm off and is digging into me, telling her, it's all right, trying to be cool. Another couple is right behind us. Single couch in the main room of the cabin covered in blue paint and what looks like dog hair. nothing else except broken glass and graffiti. Go off into the second room, which is like a kitchen with a little space to eat with a table. Old pictures of the cabin when it was actually lived in and furnished. 2 of the pictures are too fucked up to see the faces, but the third you can see it's a group of old ladies sitting around the table. One has her eyes crossed out. Freaked out even more at this point. Girl from other couple screams when she runs into a cable tied around a shoe hanging from the ceiling. Get out of the cabin through the back door. It's a big clearing with what looks like a dried up pond with a single dirty mattress inside. Mattress has a big dried representative spot in the middle with a plastic white mask in the middle of the spot. A guy from another couple says we should check out the shed. Go over with him while girls are like 5 feet behind us about to cry, hugging each other. The shed door is covered by nails and wood, doesn't budge. Small window on the top left side of the shed, so I get up on a cinder block and look in. Shed has a single chair facing the door, what looks like a dead raccoon in front of the chair, and 3 more of those plastic white masks. Tell everyone we need to get the fuck out of here. Moment I finish my sentence, we all hear what sounds like someone hitting a gong 3 times and a man screaming. Grab the girl I was with and tell everyone to run. We all book it past the cabin, into the yard and up the hill. Girl from other couple trips over some shit in yard and cuts up her ankle. Guy carries her uphill while I urge them on. When I look back urging them, I can see what looks like a guy with long black hair and with his arms covered in trash bags standing at the bottom of the hill behind the creek. He points up directly at me. I can literally feel my heart jump and I get a really loud ringing sound in my ears. Push the girl I was with over the fence and help get the other girl over the fence before I go over. Look back one last time and see 2 other people, with the white masks next to the trash bag man. Run all the way to the girl's house. Too fucking scared to talk about what I saw. Girl cries in my arms when we get to her house. Never went back to that cabin after that, even though I ended up dating that girl for 2 years after that night. We never talked about it. Whenever we thought about bringing it up, one of us got annoyed or choked up. Met up with the guy from the couple we met on the hill at school like a week after the incident, and he said he's never experienced anything like that and we shouldn't ever speak about it. I'm pretty sure that cabin got demolished like a year later, since I heard they were building another neighborhood past that hill.
B20. Live in a house with plenty of paranormal shit. Be trying to sleep one night, face down in my bed. Hear the curtains move. Immediately try and rationalize due to fear. It's just the wind blowing the curtains, I thought to myself. Realize that the window isn't open, and there isn't any wind. At this point I'm not sure if it was because I was freaked out, but I was getting really bad vibes. Happens sometimes in this house. Start hearing heavy, raspy breathing coming from the curtains. Nope, the fuck out of there. I'm on the 2nd story of the house. When you leave my room, you enter the lounge room, which leads to my brother and sister's room. Sister was traveling. I crash on the couch, not wanting to sleep in my room that night. Dog sleeping next to me. Hear a loud bang coming from the stairs. Dog and I both jump. Dog doesn't take her eyes off the stairs. I then hear my brother sleep talking in the next room. He usually sleep talks, but it's always gibberish. He starts calling my name and asking for help. I go in to see if he's alright. At this point I was tired, a little scared and caught up in the moment. I cheesily say, "Leave my brother alone and fuck off." I walk back to the couch. Hear a deep, deep laugh just meters from my head. Nope, the fuck downstairs to my mum's room. Inform her of what's going on. She tells me to just sleep in my brother's room. Pull up a futon in his room. Chilling there for a bit when I hear this lady start laughing. Couldn't pinpoint where it was coming from. It was as if it was just in the atmosphere. Get up to see if it was coming from my neighbor's place, but the window wasn't open and next door was lit out. Brother wakes up, Freaks out. Tell him to chill, I'm just going to the toilet. Come back. Attempt to fall asleep. Mum comes up to see if I'm okay. Tell her I'm fine. Before she leaves, brother asks if she can stay in his room, since he could hear a lady laughing when I went to the toilet.
I've got only one thing. Go to a private Catholic school. Used to be an all-girls Catholic school decades ago. The whole school gets torn down and a new and modern campus is built. Be a freshman taking Latin, and the building the class is in is next to the chapel and a small garden between them. Not paying attention to class, when I look out the window and I see this nun with a beige robe thing they wear out in the garden just standing there looking at the roses. She starts trimming and cuts a rose off. She turns to me and we make eye contact. Smiles and waves at me. I smile and wave back. Clearly see her face. She then goes around the corner and leave. Be now a senior still in Latin in the same class and same seat. I hadn't seen the nun since freshman year that day. Not paying attention again and see the nun walking in the garden again and starts trimming the rose bushes again. Cuts a rose off, turns to me, smiles and waves, and I do the same. Think nothing of her the first time or this time again. Almost the end of the year, and by this time I know the chapel priest pretty well now. We're chatting in his office about the old school and I asked to see old photos of the all-girls school. You know where this is going. JPG. Going through old papers, and then I see a picture with a bunch of girls, and in it I see the nun that I saw before. I comment that I've seen her before. The priest says it's not possible since she died decades ago. I tell him I swear I saw her trimming the rose bushes in the garden. He freaks out and tells me she died of a heart attack where the garden now is. Tells me not to talk about it to anyone in school. What? Anyways, whatever the entity I saw was, it did not seem to be malevolent. Not really creepy, but something out of the ordinary.
If this is true, not just a mere role-playing, what you saw was residual memory of the nun. Had a somewhat similar experience when I went traveling to Papua New Guinea. Involving a bit of cave and deceased man of World War II. Holiday break. Decide to get lost by traveling to Papua for 2 weeks. One day, I go staying in one native man's house at Biak Numfor. He invited me to visit a site named Binsari Cave and some kind of memorial monument of World War II. He said the cave was used by the Japanese Army in World War II as a hiding place when military aggression happened. More than 6,000 soldiers hid there in the past. One day, the cave was destroyed by the order of General Douglas MacArthur using bomb and gallons of gasoline to burn them all to ashes. Almost all Japan soldiers died, buried alive inside because of that. Those who ran away and get caught, held as POW or killed on sight. He said, to this day, the ghost of those who buried alive often wander around the site, from sounds of soldiers marching. Objects around the site move by itself to apparition happen there. A man, let's call him Robert, and his son who guards the site told me they often hear faint whispers near the mouth of the cave, asking them to unburden the remains of the soldiers. I also seen some kind of apparition when the sun sets. I saw a soldier dressed in white uniform, walking to the cave. He looked at me for a split second then faded away. I told Robert what I've just seen. They said it's normal. The locals used to saw them too, but now they never show themselves. They show themselves only to some new visitors. Well, fuck, I'm a lucky one, eh?
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
you.